If your team runs cloud workloads, AI services, developer pipelines, or internet-facing infrastructure, today's security question is simple. Which patch changes your blast radius first? This is Daily Tech Hack Global for August 8, 2026. The facts in this briefing come from NBD, CISO when reachable, and linked vendor advisories. I will keep the discussion defensive, no exploit commands, no payloads, and no step-by-step attack chains. The lead item is CVE-2026-70558. NVD describes it as, Dinky's post/download/upload from RS by local handler passes the caller-supplied path parameter directly to new file, path, and file.transfer to dest, with no path validation. The route is marked at SA-ignore and /download/*** is excluded from the SA token interceptor, so the only guard is a header equality check against a Dinky token value whose default, F21551795840F808DFD107DF338, is hard-coded in source and shipped to every deployment. Anyone who can reach Dinky's HTTP port, 8888 by default, and supplies the hard. The recorded severity is critical with CVSS 9.8. Why it matters: prioritize by exposure, privilege, reachable credentials, and whether automation can amplify impact. The second item is CVE-2026-41452. NVD summarizes it as, Crayon CRM 2.2.4 contains a missing authentication vulnerability in the installer middleware that allows unauthenticated remote attackers to overwrite the primary administrator account by sending a crafted HTTP post request with the X requested with XML HTTP request header to bypass the can install middleware redirect check. Attackers can supply arbitrary name, email, and password values to the admin config setup endpoint, which performs an unauthenticated view. Severity is critical with CVSS 9.8. The operational takeaway is to map this advisory to exposed systems, service credentials, and any automation that can turn a small weakness into a larger incident. Item 3 is CVE-2026-68979. Apache NiFi 1.10.0 through 2.10.0 provide a parameter context update REST API method that does not enforce authorization checking on components referencing parameter values. Updating a parameter context can change parameter values that affect referencing components, but framework authorization was limited to read and write privileges on the parameter context itself. As a result of the missing authorization, and often. Severity, critical, CVSS 9.8. Defensive context, prioritize by exposure, privilege, reachable credentials, and whether automation can amplify impact. Item 4 is CVE-2026-68980. Apache NiFi 2.0.0 through 2.10.0 support creating, reading, and deleting assets associated with parameter contexts through the REST API. The framework authorizes asset deletion against the owning parameter context using the supplied parameter context identifier and asset identifier. The framework performed authorized based on the supplied parameter context identifier without verifying the requested identifier against. Severity, critical, CVSS 9.1. Defensive context, prioritize by exposure, privilege, reachable credentials, and whether automation can amplify impact. Here is the defender checklist. First, identify whether any affected product is internet-facing, reachable from CI systems, or reachable by AI agents and automation. Second, patch according to the vendor advisory, not just the headline score. Third, review service accounts, API keys, pod identities, OAuth apps, and tool credentials that could be reused if the affected system was compromised. Fourth, add monitoring around unusual admin actions, image pulls, tool calls, authentication failures, and outbound network requests. Fifth, document what was patched and what was deferred so tomorrow's team can audit the risk instead of rediscovering it. The larger lesson is that AI security is not only prompt security. It is the security of runtimes, cloud services, tool connectors, identity boundaries, and the operational process that decides what gets patched first. Patch what is exposed, reduce what is privileged, rotate what may have leaked, and make automation prove what it is allowed to touch.